Are there any assistantships?
There are, actually. Unfortunately, the assistantships aren't available for students before they accept their admission offer. But once you're on campus, there are a number of faculty who are doing research where they invite students to apply to work with them. So let me think of a couple of people who have hired students in the past. Dr. Yusun Park, who has done research around the role of social workers during the internment of the Japanese during World War II. So she was looking at a lot of historical data, and she hired a couple of students who were placed in California to go to the National Archives there to look at original documentation. So she was here, they were there, and she was paying them for their work, which was really interesting work as well. Professor Josh Miller does a lot of community disaster mental health, and he visited New Orleans after Katrina, and then he went back 5 years later, and he hired a student to go with him. They were interviewing, in particular, Vietnamese families that had been displaced because of the hurricane. And so this student went with him, and actually she was bilingual and interviewed a number of Vietnamese families about how their life was 5 years later, where were they living, what kind of work were they doing, what was the impact of Katrina long term.
That's so interesting. What are other examples, maybe other research the faculty?
Yeah, so another woman who comes to mind, another faculty member, is Hannah Cartman. And Hannah Cartman is doing the Known Donor Project. Let's see, the best way to describe this project, as opposed to women who go to a sperm bank in search of sperms to become pregnant, the women in the project that Hannah is working with were involved with a known donor, someone that they knew or had a relationship with. And so she's interviewed them about how did they make that choice, who was the known donor, has that relationship continued, etc. And so these are numbers of, pages and pages of interviews, and the students are going through these transcripts, looking for themes and exploring this very specific segment of women who've made a particular choice about how to become pregnant.